Hello everyone! So today I am here to do spooky movie reviews. I know this is coming out at the end of October, but I'm kind of assuming most people are going to be inside this Halloween, not interacting with humans, so it would be a perfect year to do like a movie marathon. So hopefully I'm giving you guys some ideas on either what to watch next October or what to watch this Halloween. Just gonna address the shelves in the background. If you're wondering what the hell is going on here, I threw random books on this shelf because it's completely empty, and this mess, I'm moving. I actually realized I don't know if I've said that on this channel yet, but I've talked about it on Instagram. Me and Nico are moving literally tomorrow, so it's a lot happening right now, so just ignore the background. It's fine. It's not about books, it's about movies. So yeah, at the beginning of September, I believe, my boyfriend and I made this list of spooky movies to watch in October of 2020. And we just made a list of the movies that we were interested in watching that were horror thriller, also like rewatches and stuff like that. And basically I'm going to tell you guys the movies that we watched, which ones were my favorites, what I would give each one of them, stuff like that. I think I am going to start with like my least favorite and work up to my favorite. Some of them I'm just not going to talk about that much because I don't have that much to say about it, but yeah, let's get on into it. Alright, so the first movie I'm going to talk about, which is my least favorite movie I think we watched this month, is the movie Alive. This is a Korean movie on Netflix. I think it might be a Netflix original, and it's basically a zombie movie, which is why I was so interested in it. If you guys don't know, my favorite horror movie is Train to Busan. I don't actually love zombies that much, but I was kind of like, Korea seems to do zombies the way I like them done, so I was interested to see Alive. I'd had a lot of people mention it to me because they knew I liked Train to Busan. This was so boring. Oh my god, this was so boring. The main characters were so painfully stupid. It was ridiculous. Also, this main actor just does not seem to be on my good side, because we have now watched 2 movies with him, and I absolutely hated both of them, because he's also in the movie Burning, which is based on a Murakami short story. I absolutely hated that movie, and I absolutely hated this one. This is a movie that Nico and I didn't even like fully watch. Like, we got probably an hour or more into it, and we just like skipped to the end because we could not handle these idiotic characters anymore. So yeah, this was not good. Not good. Funny Games, which is actually a German movie. It's like a German horror movie, and Nico was interested in watching it, so we watched it, and I just didn't find this interesting or creepy at all. It's basically like a hostage kind of situation. Like, these 2 guys take this family hostage, and I think the biggest thing that might interest like actual movie buffs with this one is the fact that it's shot really, really interestingly. Like, it's basically like there are no cuts or anything. Like, there are obviously, but there are very, very few. And the thing that totally like made me not care about it is this one scene that is like 15 straight minutes of no cuts and nothing happening, and it was kind of boring to me. I just thought it was a little bit unrealistic, also to the point of like, I don't know, I feel like this had to have been like more of a ridiculous movie, more so than like an actual movie, I guess. But yeah, I really didn't care for that one. Alright, next up on my list is, I guess, preemptive a little bit, but it's It Chapter 2. It Chapter 1 will be later on, but yeah, I watched It Chapter 1 and 2 for the first time this October, and It Chapter 2, I really didn't like that much. I thought it was really boring, and Nico told me that like they have made an It movie back like several years ago that seemed to have the same problem of like when the kids are adults, it just doesn't work as well. I feel like it loses a little bit of the spark and like the charm of having the kids, because spoiler alert, I really liked It Chapter 1, which is why I was also really disappointed in Chapter 2. I just thought it was really cheesy, and I didn't really care about the characters at all, even though I cared about them so much in Chapter 1, and I just wasn't a fan of this one. I thought it was really, I thought they could have done better, but according to the other adaptation of this book, the adults just don't work. Like, just make this a movie about the kids. The next one is another one that I was really excited for and it just fell very flat, and that is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This is based off of the book that everyone has been obsessed with for years. I read it several years back and I did really like it, but the movie was just... It was similar to Funny Games in the sense of like it was just too long and too many scenes that really like it was just boring. It was just like so many scenes of the main two characters just in the car talking, and then like the ending was super weird, and like this movie just, it definitely made me uncomfortable. Like it really makes me uncomfortable for sure, I guess, if you want that in your horror movies, but overall it was just really, really boring. And it was also one of those things that I feel like this story doesn't do well in a movie because it just becomes really, really obvious what the twist is. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this one either. Next up, another kind of preemptive one, but it's Jeepers Creepers 2. We watched Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, and spoiler alert, number 1 is later in this list. But Jeepers Creepers 2, I don't have much to say about. I just didn't think it was nearly as entertaining or fun as the first one. I thought it was a little bit more ridiculous, which some people really like, and it seems that Jeepers Creepers 2 is the one that most people enjoy more, or at least remember more. I just thought it was kind of silly. It was entertaining at the time, but it would never like be something I'd rewatch or like talk about. So next up, I have a classic, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street, and this we are getting into the 3-star movies. Nightmare on Elm Street is one I was actually really interested in because I'd heard it compared to Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky, which you guys all know is like my favorite book ever, favorite horror book for sure. And I just heard that it compared to it because it has to do with dreams, and obviously the like evil character in Nightmare on Elm Street like kills people in their dreams. So I thought that was a really interesting concept. Unfortunately, it was a little bit more goofy than like serious. I think it could have really worked if it was more serious of a movie. But like I already kind of forget this one, if I'm completely honest. Like I remember like 3 scenes from it and we watched it like a month ago. So yeah, that it was fine. I'm glad I can say I've seen most of the classics now, but it was just okay. Next up, I have The Thing Part 2, another one. I'm realizing all of my Part 2s are before Part 1. Anyways, The Thing Part 2, I guess The Thing 2011. It's not technically like number 2 to The Thing, but it is. It's like a prequel. I thought this one was fine. Spoiler alert, The Thing is one of my favorite horror movies ever, so it had a lot to live up to. It was fine. Maybe if I had seen this one before I saw The Thing, I wouldn't have had such high expectations, but it was kind of, they took a much more serious horror movie and made it more action-y, I guess. And also, it was weird because, like, the original Thing that I really like is much, much older, but I feel like I enjoyed the CGI in it more than this. I guess it's not actual CGI in the first one, but this one I just didn't like. I thought it was kind of cheesy, but it was fine. It was entertaining. That's it. Next up, I have Devil All the Time, and this is a big one that everyone was pretty excited for that came out this September, and we watched it basically right when it came out. I had read the book beforehand. It's one of my boyfriend's like favorite books ever, and I thought they did it pretty well in the movie. This is another one sort of similar to I'm Thinking of Ending Things that I just don't think it works very well in a movie. Especially because they cut out like most of my favorite plot line. Like the book focuses so equally on like the different like storylines, and the movie definitely mostly focused on like one character, which I enjoyed the other characters probably more than that one, so that's kind of where my enjoyment fell flat. This one is so creepy. If you are a fan of Robert Pattinson, just watch this because you are going to be horrified and disgusted just because of him. Like I know he's been in like real movies, but like this is the one that I went, wow, he is a really good actor, because I am so disgusted and creeped out and freaked out and I don't like this. I'm very uncomfortable. So that was definitely my favorite part of it. But yeah, it was good. I think it worked a lot better as the book. Next up, I have Paranormal Activity, and this is the first time I've ever seen Paranormal Activity. This is one that I think when I first finished it, I was kind of like meh about. It was like, oh, that was fine, that was fun, but like as it's gone on, this is definitely the one that stuck with me the most because like, I don't know, I feel like it's the same with everyone because it takes place, if you guys somehow don't know what Paranormal Activity is, it's like a couple filming their room as like creepy shit is happening in their room, and like anyone who goes to sleep at night is gonna be like, holy shit, what if that like starts happening to me? So I definitely like had a couple of nights that I like pulled the covers over my head, like kind of freaked out because of this movie. So that's why I'm putting it up a little bit higher than I originally probably had it, because it definitely was creepy. It definitely like kind of pokes at a very like innate human fear. So I thought it was pretty good. I also thought it was really unique in the way that it was filmed, obviously. Next up, I have the movie Frailty, and this is one that's really interesting, actually. I thought it was, like, really good, but I don't know, there was just something about it that didn't make me, like, absolutely love it. I did think it was really good, though. We're getting into the movies that I'm like, these are actually pretty good movies. This one, I keep forgetting what movie this was because the name for it makes no sense. Basically, it's about these two kids who their father like gets a message from God telling him that he needs to like kill these people because they're not humans, they're demons, and he like ropes his two children into doing this for him, and it's flashing back and forth like present day and then to when they were kids, because one of the brothers is like turning in the other brother for these murders. And I did really like this one. I thought it was really interesting and it was pretty well done. It was a very unique concept, but I also guessed the twist like pretty early, like before it was like getting obvious. I went, oh wait, is this what's happening? So obviously that took it down a little bit, but I did think this one was really good. Next up, I have Zodiac, which is about the Zodiac killer, and this is one of my boyfriend's like favorite movies, I think, because I feel like he's always watching it. But this one is based on the actual Zodiac killer back in the 1980s, 70s, something like that. And I thought it was really good. It was really well done. It was really interesting. I really like the cast. It has a very stacked cast. And I thought it was good. It's one of those things that I feel like everyone has seen or heard about this kind of story, so I don't have that much to add to it. I thought it was really, really well done. It's a bit long. That's the only thing I would give it, is it's a little bit long, and obviously, like, even today, we still don't know for sure who the Zodiac killer was, so the movie, like, kind of makes a decision, even though it's, like, not true, and I don't know if I, like, love that or not, but it was really good. I really do like this guy, and this director is on this list a little bit higher up, so wait for it. And the last of my 3 stars, this is like, we're at like 3.75 at the moment, and that is Pet Sematary, and this is the 2019 version. I haven't watched any of the old Kings. I'm watching all of the new ones. It's fine. Well, I watched one old King. It's fine. But yeah, Pet Sematary. I read the book over the summer, I believe, and I actually really liked it. It was one of the first Kings I ever truly enjoyed, and I really did like it, and I liked this movie quite a lot. I didn't understand some of the choices that they made to change. I would say I actually really liked like the first 3/4 of the movie way more than the ending. The ending to me was just whatever, in my personal opinion, and like the very last scene, I was just like, okay, whatever, I don't really care. But the beginning parts were really, really interesting, and I do really like this story. It's so dark, and it's so creepy, and it's so disturbing, and I do think the movie did it pretty well, but I do prefer the book. Alright, now we are getting on into 4 stars. Alright, let's go with Jeepers Creepers number 1. So, number 2 was a lot farther down on the list. Number 1, I would give a 4 star. I actually really liked this. I thought it was silly and kind of campy and reminded me very much of like a classic horror film, but The main characters are really smart, in my opinion. Like, that is like one of the biggest things that I'm going to be like saying about the top things, is I really love smart characters in horror. And the characters in this, I don't even think they were meant to be very smart or like this well acted, but the actors in this did really, really well. I think they were actually really good at acting, and I think the characters were just smart, and that's what really made me enjoy it. I liked how like weirdly complex this story was for such kind of like a ridiculous, goofy horror movie, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I gave this a 4-star. This is definitely a interesting horror movie, and like I said, the second one goes definitely more in a action movie kind of direction, but I really liked it as like this kind of horror movie. And I'm not gonna lie, this is not a spoiler, but now anytime someone is like really, really close behind me, like tailgating me when I am driving, I kind of get freaked out. That's another thing, is like I'm like, if a movie stays with me long enough, I have to like put it up a little bit higher. But I did really, really enjoy this. Like literally finishing it, I was like, wait, that was actually really good. The next one I have is a more recent film, and that is The Invisible Man. This one I also gave a 4-star. I thought it, again, was really intelligent, and I really enjoyed that. There's just, I feel like the plot of this, not like the plot, but like, you know, girl running away from guy because abusive. Like, I feel like that has happened quite often in like thrillers and horror movies, but like the girl's always kind of stupid. The girl in this one is so intelligent, and also it was every single time I was like, okay, she needs to do this. She actually does it. Again, it was just like, she was so smart. Like literally every time I was like, okay, she needs to go to the police. Like, why isn't she going to the police? The next scene, she's at the police office, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. It was just, it felt like the director saw everyone's complaints with horror movies and went, let's not do that, and just made a really, really intelligent main character, which I really, really enjoyed it. This one definitely wasn't spooky for me. This one is definitely more of a thriller, but again, I really enjoyed the main character, and I really enjoyed like the overall idea behind this one. It's definitely a really interesting concept. It just wasn't scary, which is why it wasn't like a 5-star. Next up, I have another Korean movie, and that is Time to Hunt, and this is definitely more of a thriller than a horror movie. I also gave this one 4 stars. This stars my favorite actor, Choi Yoo-sik, in it, and I did think this was really, really fun and entertaining, and again, very fast-paced and thrilling. The only thing I knocked it down for was it's too long. It could have easily been like 30 to 40 minutes shorter, but this is it's a lot of different things. Like, I keep trying to explain it to people, and I'm like, it starts as Ocean's 11, but then it isn't. The beginning is really fast-paced, and I really enjoyed the beginning, but then yeah, at the second half, it just slowed down a little bit too much for me, but I thought it was really interesting, and also it's kind of a big commentary on South Korea, which I think is really interesting in a movie like this, because it's definitely more of just an entertaining, fast-paced thriller, but it also does have some really interesting commentary on modern-day Korea, which is really cool in my opinion. But yeah, I love this one. It was really fun. I wish it was 5-star, but it was just a little too long. And next up we have The Shining. Yep, this is the only old king that I've ever seen. This is a weird story because I actually got like a little bit called out on Goodreads, but I gave the book like 2 stars, and then I gave this movie like 3 stars, and after sitting on it for a while, I have upped both of the ratings to 4 stars. Basically just sitting on it, it like made me really, really enjoy this story and this movie and this idea. Watching the movie weirdly made me like the book more though, because everything the movie didn't do, I realized I actually really, really liked in the book. But then the movie itself is just really, really entertaining and well done. Obviously everyone knows what The Shining is. I did really enjoy watching it. It was my first time ever watching it, and I really had fun, you know, finally learning all of the different references that people make from this book, or this movie. So yeah, my boyfriend and I are being Wendy and Jack for Halloween, so that tells you we enjoyed it. And much further up the list then, it's part 2 is It Chapter 1. I really loved this. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 star. We're into 4.5. And I really loved it. It was really good. It's very charming. It's really spooky. It's really scary. It has some really interesting, like really good CGI. And it has just... I liked how it kind of hit on every kid's fear, because I think everyone is going to be scared of at least one thing in this movie. Although, like, I'm not scared of clowns at all. I still found, like, some parts pretty scary. And I just love this, like, idea behind this. Like, I really enjoyed the story. I did read the book It back in, like, 6th grade. So I don't remember it that well, but I remember always enjoying the idea of it. And I just, again, I think this one really was charming and interesting, and I loved the kid characters. So yeah, unfortunately in part 2 you get rid of that part with the kids and it's just not as charming and fun. So yeah, this one, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And my next 4.5 out of 5 star, my second favorite movie of the spooky season, is Seven. And this is by the same guy who directed Zodiac. And I really loved this. I thought it was so fun and so entertaining. It is basically a murder mystery, but like the murderer is going on the 7 deadly sins. And I feel like anime people are gonna get me on this. I always think it's really interesting when things are based on the 7 deadly sins, like Full Metal Alchemist or the 7 deadly sins anime. I just think it's such a interesting and fun concept because you know what's coming, but still they always manage to do it really interestingly. And yeah, oh my god, the murders in this are probably some of the most insane murders ever, like, I've ever seen. Like, the lust one is terrifying. Like, I still think about that scene way too often, and I thought the ending was very smart. I did kind of guess the ending, not gonna lie. I, like, 10 minutes before it happened, I kind of was like, fuck, is this gonna happen? And I kind of got it. I didn't get it perfectly, but I did kind of get it. But even that, I was still like, oh my god, this is insane. The ending is so smart, so interesting, and I really enjoyed this one. Also, the cast is really fun. It's a lot of big name people, even I recognize, and I never recognize actors. So this one was brilliant. I highly recommend this one. Definitely for an older audience, though. I'm pretty sure it's probably rated R. So, it's a good horror movie, though. Really enjoyed it. And unfortunately, I guess, my favorite movie that we watched this spooky season was, in fact, a rewatch for me. And that is The Thing. The Thing is probably one of my favorite horror movies. My favorite horror movie is probably Hereditary, but we haven't watched that this year. We're actually going to watch it on Halloween. But The Thing and Hereditary are definitely my 2 favorite horror movies for very different reasons. But The Thing, it's a classic horror movie. I'm talking about the 1980s one. There's one from the 50s. Not that one. The one from, like, I think the 1980s. I just think it is so smart, so interesting, so unique, and I see so many things ripping it off now, and no one has watched this movie, so no one realizes that it's ripping it off. So many books. I have heard so many books described, and I'm like, that's just The Thing. What? And The Thing, like, the movie is based off of a book. So I'm just like, wow, people are really ripping this off and not even like, no one's realizing it. Like, I always talk about 172 Hours on the Moon rips off this movie. But yeah, this is such a good movie. If you don't know what it's about a group of people who are researchers in Antarctica, and at the very beginning of the movie, there is a helicopter, and it's trying to kill this dog that is running into its camp, and because of this dog, things start happening. And it is kind of an alien movie, and it's kind of not. It's like very much a who can you trust movie, and the, like, premise behind this is just one of my favorite premises ever, as well as the ending. Again, talk about a smart ending. This ending is absolutely brilliant, and it's one of those things that every single time we've watched it, we've only watched it twice, but each time we watch it, I go, Nico, what was the reason that this was the thing? Or like this happened? And he always has to explain it, because even like I watching it for the second time still didn't catch on kind of thing. It's just such a smart and complex ending, and I really, really like it. I think it's a fantastically done movie, and I'm pretty sure all of the effects and stuff are special effects, not CGI. So like they're actually made, which I just think is amazing. And I really think more people need to watch this movie. It's definitely a little bit like afterwards, I feel like it's not going to be one of those things that you're actually scared of the movie, but you're scared of like the implication. Like you're scared of like, oh, existential dread a little bit. But this was definitely my favorite movie that we have watched this October. I gave it 5-star. I know it's a rewatch, but like I haven't talked about this movie that much. Definitely one of my favorite horror movies next to Hereditary. So those are all of the movies that my boyfriend and I watched this October. I'm gonna bring him in to have him talk about his least favorite and his favorite movie.
So my least favorite was also, I don't know what Kate's was actually. My least favorite was Alive. It was stupid. The guy was stupid. He had a dumb face and he did dumb things.
The characters were just idiotic.
He never closed his mouth the entire movie. It was always...
We both just really don't like that actor.
Yeah, he has a dumb face. Oh yeah, most of these are rewatches for me. So it's like the original movie that I'll pick like an original one that I watched and then my rewatch. So the movie that I hadn't seen before that I liked the most was The Invisible Man. Because the chick was actually smart. Actually did things that I wouldn't have thought of, which I like. Because most horror movies, they're fucking stupid, like in Alive. And then my other favorite is it's definitely, I mean, it's probably The Thing, but also I'm gonna go with 7 just because I forgot how good that movie actually is. And it's really disturbing. It's really messed up, and it kind of like it does what horror movies should do, which like gives you dread. Which like the thing's just really cool and well done, but I don't feel like dread like I do in 7.
Do you feel me that it like gives you almost an existential crisis? Like The Thing, it's not scary, but like after the movie's done, it's like the implication.
Yeah.
It's the implication.
Just the implication. Yes, the ending's just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just the ending of The Thing is just really cool, so I won't spoil it. But
I said I always have to ask you about the ending because I still always forget what the ending really means.
Like, yeah, how do you figure out the ending? Yeah. What it means? Okay, yeah. So that's it.
Good job. But yeah, I hope you guys all. Oh, you're so much taller than me. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this spooky movie reviews for you guys. Yeah, definitely check out The Thing, 7, The Invisible Man. I also definitely agree The Invisible Man is one I would highly recommend, even though it was a little bit lower on my list. If you haven't seen The Shining, check out The Shining. If you want a Korean movie, don't go for Alive, go for Time to Hunt, or Train to Busan. So yeah, I hope you guys at least found one movie to watch this Halloween. And anyways, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye!